Back working on this narrowed bomber. I think I've gotten the rear pinion angle set to where it needs to be, but I've got a couple of issues, and I'm going to flip it over now and show you what we got to contend with. Pinion angle is not perfect. It's getting really close to being where it needs to be. Now, the only issue that I'm running into is where the shaft leaves. The transmission is right against the spur cover, but we are running just mock-up shocks. There's a new set of shocks coming, so I'm assuming that when they get here, that's going to push it away just enough. Now, this shaft is in place and it's tight. This coupler is not right. I want to cut this one longer rear shaft. But what we wound up doing is using a pair of cross RC link shafts for the upper links with Traxxas rod ends. And I believe those are I believe they're 93 millimeter. It's written on it. It's going to be hard for me to get in there to let you guys see. So the rear is getting really, really close. Again, we got a taller shock coming, so that should alleviate some of the rub issues. But the front is going to be a little bit different. Front axle pinion runs out just middle of the axle. As you can see, it's right in line with this is a receiver box. And then the drive shaft for the front axle, it is right there. So if you look, this radio box is going to inhibit it from making a good connection. So what we're going to wind up doing, what I'm going to have to do, is take this receiver box completely out, and that should open it up enough to where that shaft can make the angle to come down and reach the pinion. And what we'll do is we'll just take this box completely out of the picture and then add a smaller receiver box, waterproof receiver box, on the skid plate underneath the drivers and just off to one side of the transmission. Now the transmission sits kind of centered, but all we're going to put in it is just a receiver, so I can run a narrow box and set it to one side or the other. And I think that's going to be all we need to do. Still waiting on the servo plate to get here, and I do believe that is going to cause just a small issue, which I'm not going to get into yet because I want to make sure that I'm correct on it. And if it does, then I'll show you guys how we're going to get around that. But so far, so good. That's where we are so far. Okay, so we got some parts in today, and these are the wheels that he has chosen to put on this bomber project. It is an Enduro wheel. Man, is that wide. It's got a fake big lock on the front, which is, it's still going to look great. Got a bunch of screws to put into it. But the cool thing about it, even with all of those on it, there's only 6 actual attachment points on the backside to get this thing to clamp. He did get a set of tires also. The tires are just, I can't find a name on them, but I got one mocked up. Actually 2. They're a little bit shorter than what we had on here during mock-up. And so I stopped for the moment and sent him a message to see if this is what he wants to put on here for sure before we get them all clamped in and mounted up. But I got the right size tires, so we're going to take these and put a couple on the wheels over here, which have different rings on them now, and then put them on the truck and see what we got. That gnarly thing, good God, lugs on that. It's a 4.80 gigantic tire, so he's a little bit taller than what I've got there, just a shade. Man, that's really going to wake that thing up. I got the drive shafts about halfway sorted out now. So you can see the receiver box is gone and allows that front drive shaft to get over there to the front axle with no impedance whatsoever. And so we are still rubbing back here, but the drive shafts it's a lot sturdier now with the longer. Still waiting on the shocks to get here and the servo mount, but right now, here's a before shot. All right, here's one of them. As you can see, basically the same tread, but set it down there beside of it. I'm so glad he went with a bigger tire. Now I still have to put all the lugs and all the hub bolts in it. I don't have any of those in there, just got enough to mock it up. And when the shocks get here, we'll take care of all of that. I am so ready to get the servo mount, because then I could go ahead and put just a brush system in this thing and really start testing it to figure it out. Yeah, this is it. And man, is it really, it's starting to come along now. So look for more to come, you guys. And I'll pick it back up, start another video whenever we get the shocks and the servo mount, because I'll be adding the electronics, and we can start doing some testing. So you guys take good care, and we'll catch you on the next one.